Yo, what's going on, guys? Cleveland Sports TV here, and today we're going to be talking some more Cleveland Browns football, and in particular, the NFL draft. I've seen a lot of buzz, a lot of videos, a lot of feedback on what the Browns should do this coming up off season, and I know there's a lot of you out there who think the Browns' biggest need might be wide receiver, just because there's a kind of a big drop-off after guys like Perriman, Landry, Callaway. I think those are the three guys that we're most comfortable with. I'm a big Rashard Higgins guy. It looks like they're going to re-sign him. Stay tuned for a video on that. But me, I think the Browns need to address the defensive side of the ball first and foremost this upcoming offseason. I think that's their biggest need. I think a lot of you guys might already know that from me if you've watched previous videos. There's a lot of people out there who want to go out and get Antonio Brown or Odell Beckham. Then there's people out there who want to draft a wide receiver in the first round, guys like A.J. Brown, so on and so forth. But for me, really want to address that defensive side of the ball. Front seven, D tackle, defensive end, outside linebacker, depth at corner, things like that. So in the first couple of rounds, I would just really like to see John Dorsey focus in on that defensive side of the ball. But in today's video, I'm going to give you guys 6 wide receivers who I think the Browns can draft that can come in and make an impact, mesh with Baker Mayfield, and produce as soon as the 2019 season. So sit back, relax, guys, and here's 6 receivers who I think the Browns could take a look at that would help them in the 2019 season from rounds 3 through 7. Enjoy, guys. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you like what you see. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy. All right, guys, first on my list, we have Lil Jordan Humphrey. Yes, what a name we have there, out of the University of Texas. Jordan Humphrey comes in at 6'4", 225, so he is a big body receiver. I know a lot of guys are looking for, or a lot of people are looking for the Browns to go out and find somebody who Baker can trust in the red zone, who can go up and get the ball, who can kind of be an emergency blanket in the red zone. So this guy fits the build, 6'4", 225 pounds. You're not going to find very many bigger receivers in this year's draft. Humphrey totaled 86 receptions for almost 1,200 yards and 9 touchdowns in 2018. A huge jump from his sophomore year where he totaled 37 catches and 431 yards and 1 touchdown. A lot of that has to do with quarterback play in Texas, new coaching staff, so on and so forth. However, this guy really elevated his game, and there are some scouts out there who think that he can continue to elevate the game. But the one knock on this guy is that he is very slow when it comes to speed at the NFL level, and scouts believe that he might have a hard time separating from corners. Next up on the list, we have Miles Boykin, wide receiver from Notre Dame. I know that just told you that he was 6'1", 228 pounds, but he is actually 6'4", 228 pounds, so that is going to be a typo on my part. Sorry about that, guys. Boykin is a big receiver who presents a size matchup against NFL defensive backs. You'll have to bully them around and make catches over them at the NFL level. Where separating from them could be an issue. In 2018, Boykin caught 59 passes for almost 900 yards and 8 touchdowns. It was a breakout year for the senior, who had recorded 12 receptions for 253 yards and 2 touchdowns in 2017. Boykin needs to put up fast times in the lead up to the draft in order to improve his grade. Right now, his projected round where he will be drafted is anywhere from the 2nd to the 5th round. I see him going anywhere in the late 3rd, early 4th. But I'm not Todd McShay, so don't quote me on that. But like I said, big body receiver, just like Lil Jordan Humphrey, who can go up and get the ball, could be a security blanket, has very good ball skills for a big guy. But like I said, guys, a little bit slower, so that could be the issue for him coming to the NFL. Next up is Jamarius Way, wide receiver from South Alabama. Jamarius Way is one of my favorite receivers in this year's draft, especially for where you can get him at. His projected round where he'll be drafted is anywhere from the 4th to the 7th round. 6'3", 212, so he still has a very nice body, good size for the NFL level. Projected run is 40 time at around 4.48, which is not terrible, especially for somebody at the size of 6'3". But this guy, he just made play after play. The one huge knock on him is the fact that he played at South Alabama. So the quality of his opponents, the quality of the defenders aren't what you may see from a lot of the guys on this list playing in a small conference, small school. I'm one of those people who believes that if you can play, you can play. However, South Alabama is just one of those schools where I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't even know what conference it's in. I've heard of it. I know the logo, I know what colors they wore, but I don't know the conference. So that could be the one knock. However, I don't believe in that. To me, this guy can play, and I have a hunch that he's going to go a little bit earlier than what people think. I think we'll find him coming off the board mid-third, early fourth round with a bunch of hype. And if he can land on the right team, I think he can have an impact early on. But I could be biased. Like I said, this is one of my favorite guys in this year's draft. Alright guys, next on our list we have Jon'Vea Johnson. Once again, another typo for me. Jon'Vea Johnson comes in at 6 foot, 188 pounds. He put together 32 receptions for 660 yards and 9 touchdowns in 2018. Johnson is the third in a trio of receiver prospects for the NFL from Toledo this year, which is very shocking to me, especially playing in the MAC conference. I know the MAC pretty well. I went to the University of Akron. You don't have many pro prospects who you don't have very many than 1 or 2 prospects on each team. And for them to say that he is one of 3 wide receivers who they expect to be drafted is very, very interesting to me. But they expect him to be the first one off the board from Toledo. This guy reminds me a lot of Duke Johnson, but at the wide receiver position. They do project this guy to play a lot of slot receiver, but this guy is projected to run his 40 at 4.41 to 4.43, and a lot of people think come NFL Combine he can run it at a sub 4.4. Quick feet, an amazing first move off the line of scrimmage. He can make guys miss. And what I love about him, for being 6 foot, is when the ball's in the air, he attacks the ball. He comes back to the ball, goes up when he has to go up and get it. He comes back to it, as you can see here. And when he has the ball in the open field, good night. It's just hard to bring him down. Like I said, he reminds me a lot of Duke Johnson with how quick his footwork is and his route running capabilities. This guy right here, I think, will end up being off the board sooner than a lot of people believe. His projected rounds right now are 3 to 5. I see him as a late second, early third round pick, just because the wide receiver position, after those first 4 or 5 guys that may go in the first 2 rounds, there's a little bit of a drop off, but we'll see. Next on the list is Terry McLaurin. Sorry if I butchered that name, from the Ohio State University. I'm an Ohio State fan. I don't know if a lot of you guys know that yet, but this guy just had an amazing Senior Bowl week, practices leading up to the Senior Bowl, so on and so forth. His ability to get off the line of scrimmage, make guys miss, and that quick speed, that burst, those first couple steps, he turned a lot of heads in the Senior Bowl. He actually went viral on Twitter and YouTube. He was trending on Twitter during the Senior Bowl just because of his wow factor that he brought him. Not a lot of people were able to keep up with him. Not a lot of people were able to stick on him in practices. He was making a lot of people miss. He was projected to go in the 6th or 7th round leading up to the Senior Bowl, and just based off the Senior Bowl alone, he made a lot of money. He's projected now to go anywhere from the late 2nd to the early 5th round. And obviously he played at Ohio State, so he played at a big school, big-time school against some good competition. The wide receiver position this year for Ohio State, outside of Paris Campbell, was really interesting. Dwayne Haskins, as we know, broke the Ohio State record and the touchdown record. All the accolades he had were amazing, but there was really only one big-name wide receiver for the Buckeyes this year, and that was Paris Campbell. A lot of people like KJ Hill, but this is a guy I'm high on. Terry McLaurin, wide receiver, Ohio State. I think he's going to make whatever team drafts him very happy. One thing to keep in note about this guy is his ability to play in special teams. Even if he does not end up being a good wide receiver in the NFL level, I think he will have a long career in the NFL just because of how special he can be in playing on special teams. But I think he's going to be a great slot receiver, getting off the line of scrimmage. I don't think there's going to be very many cornerbacks in the NFL who can keep up with that quick footwork. Next up, my favorite player in this entire draft, a Cleveland, Ohio kid, Andy Isabella, out of the University of UMass. Now, before you guys get all up in your feelings, he is 5'10", 190 pounds, but this guy here is a football player. He had a productive he was a productive receiver at the University of UMass over his past 2 seasons, and the steady play earned him an invitation to the Senior Bowl, where he did not disappoint. Outside of Terry McLaurin, this is probably the other wide receiver who turned the most heads at the Senior Bowl. He had a good week of practice in Mobile. In 2018, Isabella caught 102 passes for 1,700 yards and 13 touchdowns. And the prior year before that, he had 65 catches for over 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns as a junior. For the NFL, he's projected to be a slot receiver. This guy reminds me so much of guys like Taylor Gabriel, Wes Welker, and Julian Edelman. He is a little bit smaller, but he's got that little stocky body, but he does not lose any speed with the stockiness. It's very interesting how he is able to move around on the football field. He's got a bigger upper body for being a shorter guy, but this guy just makes everybody miss. If you watch his highlight reel, it is very hard to bring this guy down one-on-one, and he has tremendous speed. I think he will be an elite punt and kick returner in the NFL level, and if he's on the right team, the right spread offense, I think he is just going to be a gem, and I would love to Bronze to go and get him in the 5th round, especially being a Cleveland guy. He's just a football player.